You can only watch one movie for the rest of your life. Which movie would it be and why?
Oh, I would say Meet the Robinsons.
What's up, everybody? Thanks for tuning in to another episode of 5 with T5, where we bring local business owners, community champions, and all around amazing individuals on to learn about them, their stories, or business in a quick and effective way. My name is Stephen Turnbull from T5 Insurance, your host, and I'm joined by my guest today, Mr. Gabriel Broomfield. If you're joining us for the first time, we're going to start the clock with 5 rapid-fire questions and our guest in the first 5 minutes, and then we'll slow things down for a few minutes and learn a little bit about him. Gabe, thanks for being here. You ready to rock?
Let's do this. Thanks for having me.
Question number 1. Knowing that you have started multiple businesses, what exactly draws you to be an entrepreneur?
Oh, that's a good question. Um, I think, it may sound cliche, but it's in my blood. I grew up around business. My dad, was in business since he was, working 10 years old. I started my first whole entrepreneurial venture when I was 10 years old as well, and gumball machines to pay for flight lessons. So I think it runs in the family, and just being exposed to it, since such a young age.
So probably just being exposed to it, but seeing the fruits of the labor of what your dad was able to build and wanting that for yourself, right?
Yeah. He had, 90 employees. It was all fully delegated out. So where he was able to be a full-time dad and, building his dream house and, having fun with the Emily and I and, our mom. So
Love it. Love it. Question number 2. You can only watch one movie for the rest of your life. Which movie would it be and why?
oh,
I want everybody
um,
to know that Gabe has no idea what these questions are prior to this. So this is
no,
all right on
no,
the spot.
that's a good one. Um, I would say, I would say Meet the Robinsons. It's one of my go-to movies. I love the story. It's a really good uplifting one. There's some other fun movies out there that I really enjoy, but if it's the only movie I get for the rest of my life, yeah, Meet the Robinsons would be it.
Love it. Question number 3. Name a book that profoundly impacted your outlook on life or influenced your personal growth.
Um,
Just one, not 10, just one.
yeah,
I know you're a
yeah,
big book
that,
guy.
yeah. That's the hard one for me. Um, one of my first thoughts was Think and Grow Rich, but actually I'm going to go with Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. It's
I
a
don't think I've heard of
philosophical
that.
book.
Man's Search for Meaning, you said?
Yeah, it's a bit of a rough one, because he was a Jewish psychologist, lived in or around Germany during World War II time period, and got sent to a concentration camp. He had his thesis, his doctoral thesis, I think it was, about empowering meaning and that kind of stuff, and that got taken away from him by the Jews, and then he got sent to concentration camps, and so he was like, well, this is the best place to test my theory. And he went and tested it, and it's pretty profound.
Hmm. Question number 4. This might be the hardest one. Tea or coffee?
Oh, well, for me that one's easy, tea. Coffee makes me feel weird.
Really?
Yeah. Yep.
It makes me feel weird too. That's why I love it so much.
Yeah, well, maybe.
Any particular type of tea?
Um, I grew up watching Star Trek: The Next Generation, so I'm always sucker for a good Earl Grey. Captain Picard fan there.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right, last question. Question number 5. What is a childhood dream that you have that you still hope to fulfill one day?
Um, that's well, I want to get my pilot's license. I'm actually pretty close there. I started flying when I was 10 years old. My dad knew a friend, and I was interested in flying, so went up in the plane, and ever since the first time I've been up in a small plane, I've been hooked, and that's why I started the vending business, was to help pay for flight lessons. So I have 60 plus hours in. I'm actually pretty close. It's just, life and business kind of took precedent
Mm.
after I graduated high school and just didn't finish it up. So that's on my this year or next year when I get that completed and off the bucket list.
That's great. All right, there's the 5 questions. You did it. You did it under 5
Ooh,
minutes. That
nice.
was perfect. Again, Gabe had no idea what questions were coming, and you did a fantastic job with that. Gabe, let's take the last part of this episode here just to learn a little bit about yourself. I know I know you personally. We've worked together in business. I've seen the property you guys have, the different things you have going on. So I know it's going to be extremely difficult to do this in 5 to 8 minutes here that we have before we wrap this up. But tell us a little bit about the stories of the Airbnb. I think that's one of the kind of the incredible stories of how that came to be, the business that you guys have, and then what you're doing today when we're recording this episode, what the new project is on the horizon.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, it started out going back a ways before the Airbnb. Is Emily was graduating college, a communications degree out of Syracuse University, and she didn't want to go work for somebody else. So she texted Dad and I was like, "Hey, I don't want to work for somebody else. Can we figure something else out?" So we started up a business on Amazon selling home decor products. Is what the niche that we found there. That was going for a couple of years. Then March 2020 came around. And Amazon sent us this very nice email saying, this is the list of all of your products that are deemed essential, and we will continue to stock during the pandemic. We didn't have any. Home decor was not deemed essential. I agree with their decision from their standpoint and them trying to support their customers, but that meant that we were out of business, at least for, initially a couple weeks, and then that turned into longer. With the equipment that we had from doing the home decor products, we actually then pivoted into making face shields. And actually, going back a little bit before we started the face shields, and even before March, actually in the end of 2019, we had a container on our property, a shipping container, Connex box, another word for it. And we had moved that into a site where we had wanted to build a short-term rental Airbnb. Both of our cousins had been doing short-term rentals for at least 5 years prior. One of them even longer than that. And so we, had gotten some really great insight from them and advice from them. And, that was going to be kind of our little weekend slow project. So we did the face shields that really got booming. We weren't able to sell those on Amazon due to restrictions, that kind of stuff. So we set up our own website. Emily got trained in marketing and advertising by a family friend. And she absolutely killed it. We were getting, we were spending $1 and getting $38 in revenue in return on some of her campaigns. Absolutely
That's
crazy.
awesome.
And so the profits of that, we're like, okay, well, what do we do? It ran for about 2 to 4 months of pretty solid business. We were shipping out about 2,000 face shields a day, going like crazy in the garage. And so we're like, okay, with the profits, what do we do? We have this sum of money. Do we, go back into selling stuff on Amazon? Had a bit of a bad taste in our mouth from that. So we're like, screw it. Let's put it all into the shipping container. And so we did that. We took the bet and went all in. That was, all the money that we had. So we're like, okay, let's do this. And we wrapped that up in December of 2020. So about 6-7 months of building it. And within 4.5 months, Emily was doing some advertising because she knew how the algorithms were still working, that kind of stuff, and launching it on Airbnb. We had gotten in about $85,000 worth of bookings, and coming in scheduled and received, and that kind of stuff. So then we were like, well, let's plan for the second one because the first one's going so well.
Mm.
So the spring of 21, we started building Hickory Outlook, which was a stick-built structure. Didn't want to deal with the headaches of a shipping container, and we finished that up in November. Our first guest flew in his own helicopter up to the property.
I was hoping you were going
And
to bring
stayed
that up.
there.
If you didn't bring that up, I
Yeah.
was. That's my favorite part of the story.
Yeah, we didn't have the driveway totally finished yet, and they borrowed Emily's car to get up there. But he messaged us, and they were super, super nice. Normally, we don't have a whole lot of interaction with guests unless something's wrong. But with that one, they were borrowing the car and that kind of stuff, and he ended up taking us for. I got to fly his helicopter, so that was an absolute blast.
You kind of just dusted over that. Let's make that clear again. Their first guest on the stick-built Airbnb came in on his own helicopter to the property. What I love about what you guys have done too is you're bringing in people from all over. Not your market's not pulling people from Utica for a night away.
Oh,
And
no,
you're
no.
you're bringing people in from Philadelphia, New York, or these big cities that are coming in to experience what upstate New York truly is. And the other thing that I love, just because we're quick on time here, is that you are incorporating other businesses and other services when they come here. You have some relationships with local restaurants. You have suggestions of
Hmm.
you can go into Utica and do this. There's a Comets game. There's whatever. So when people are coming up here to the
Yeah.
area to use your beautiful properties, which we'll try to add some photos in here in the video, and you can absolutely tell them at the end where to find more information. Folks, these are high end, beautiful properties that they put together, and they're bringing high end people into this area, and I absolutely love that. Gabe, 2 minutes we got. Tell us the new project right now and what's going on with that.
Yeah, so in our journey with our experience selling the face shields and having such great success there, we were looking for the same ability with the short-term rentals. And when you're on a marketplace platform, whether that be eBay, Amazon, Airbnb, Vrbo, whatever it is, you do not have the ability to put on pixels or do tracking. And that's what we were able to do with face shields, and that's why we were able to get those crazy returns on our advertising dollars. So we were looking for the ability to have our own website to accept direct bookings. We spent over 2 years, tried at least a dozen different property management softwares and a half dozen various other little offshoot softwares, and couldn't find anything that worked well or that was easy to use for guests and not a pain in the ass for us. So finally, my best friend since fourth grade, he had his job went under. And so I was like, hey, Scott, you want to work on the software project with us? And we started Bookly, bookly.direct. That's the URL. It is a widget that hosts can put in on their own website. It works basically like the either Vrbo or Airbnb calendar. Guests can see the available dates, select the dates that they want, and go through the full checkout process. There's a host dashboard, and we even have a website template for Shopify right now. It's designed for, but we're going to be expanding to other platforms. And that template will allow hosts to get their own website set up and ready to accept bookings in less than an hour. So
It's so
yeah,
good. It's so
that's been the
what
big
I love
push.
about, and there's so much more in the Gabriel Broomfield story that maybe we can do a part two down the road. But what I love about it is there's a common theme with what you and your father and your sister, what you guys do, is you see a problem and you solve the problem. And here's a perfect example. You have the face shields. You solved that problem for the people in the community that needed it. You found that issue. You solved it. You had this other idea with Airbnbs. You're bringing people up to the area. It's fantastic what you're doing with that and all of that. But in that, you found your own problem with you as the consumer of the Airbnb, Vrbo, whatever it is. And now you
Hmm.
are currently working on solving that. And that was why the first question about, yeah, what exactly draws you to the entrepreneurial itch? What makes that tick in you? And I think it was fantastic. Gabe, everybody, this is the idea. Quick and effective. We learned so much in this 13 minutes right now about Gabe, but I know for a fact if there's anything here that you want to talk more about him, Gabe would be a complete open book to talk. I highly suggest you
Yeah.
reach out. I highly suggest you follow him on the Airbnb stuff, the Bookly, everything. Gabe, where can people follow the journey? Where can people learn more about what you're doing and all the good stuff?
Yeah. So with Bookly, the URL is bookly.direct, and that is also our Instagram tag, booklydirect or bookly.direct. For the Airbnbs, that is under Acadia, Akaydia. It's actually a mix. Our mother's name, our late mother's name is Kay, and our one of our longtime family member, Stephen Mather, he helped form Acadia National Park along with the actual national park system. So we combined that, spelled it
So cool.
Akaydia, and that's acadia.com. You can find our Airbnbs, and our Instagram is Acadia Getaways.
Check out
So
the Instagram here, and I've told this to you before. Your sister does such an incredible job with the Instagram.
yeah,
It is some of
yeah,
the reels that she does on there, and the marketing is just absolutely fantastic. Gabe, thank you very much for joining us today. Really appreciate it. Everybody, take them up on the offer to follow their journey. What they're doing is really fantastic. That's another episode of today. Was episode of 5 with T5. I hope you enjoyed this conversation with Gabriel Broomfield, Acadia, Bookly, all the exciting stuff he has. Make sure to check him out. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and Facebook page at T5 Insurance, and do us a favor there. Until next time, remember the power of connection and learning from one another is what makes our community thrive. Most importantly, remember to make an impact today in someone's life, even if that's your own. This is Stephen Turnbull with T5 Insurance. We'll see you next week. Take care.